Oh, g'day, mate. 40 here. So I've got great news. We've got a world premiere coming up of Apricot Sky. So world premiere Monday night, 5:15 on the West Coast, 8:15 on the East Coast, 11:15 p.m. in England. Right? So in Australia, it will be something like it'll occur on Tuesday about 10:15 a.m., depending on where you are in Australia. So make sure to gather the whole family around for the world premiere of Apricot Sky. All right, this is a classic.
It looks good.
Shoot.
It looks sexy.
No, actually, I'm supposed to meet somebody here, and they never showed up, and I really don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going.
You're not from Southern California.
No.
You're not from California.
No.
You come here to be an actress.
How did you know?
One comes every 5 minutes. There are a million in this town.
No, but everybody's not the same.
We're talking the cultural event of 2021 is happening on Monday
They send you a
night.
bus ticket.
So you want to be
And they're not
there,
here.
right? Finally digitized this unreleased movie. And yeah, gather all your friends. Can't believe you're going to stream with all that egg on your face. What egg is on my face, not bored? Is that you, Luke Ford live streams? Yes, that is me. So that's me back in 1995. So cultural event of 2021. I just don't know why my acting career never really took off. Okay, so Richard Spencer tweets, I'm taking a substantial break from posting on Twitter, though I might check back in occasionally to see news and such. This site has taken too much of my energy for years now, and it's time to focus on more important stuff. So, great news, right? Someone identifies a problem in their life and they take decisive action, and they put a priority on what truly matters in life, and they face their problem full on, and they take this decisive action, and that's that, right? Well, no, not really, because if you got a problem in one area of your life, you've got that problem all through your life. So if you're spending too much time on Twitter, or if you're spending too much time live streaming, or if you're spending too much time watching sports, or let's say you're spending too much time at the pub, or you're spending too much energy talking to the secretary at work, or you're spending too much energy in working out, and you realize you need to concentrate on more important things, all these places where you've been putting too much energy, they're not the problem. They're just symptoms of the problem. If you're a smart person, if you got an IQ over 100, right, and Richard Spencer's probably got an IQ in the 130s or above, his problems are not his problems. My problems are not my problems. So if I get to a place where I realize I'm spending too much time live streaming, that's not the problem. That's just a symptom of the problem. You don't want to confuse the symptom of a problem with the problem in and of itself. Why does one spend too much energy, too much time on endeavors that don't serve one? Because they're meeting a need. For example, if you are getting a dopamine hit every time you tweet, and then you get, I don't know, you get a dopamine hit every time you get retweeted and liked, that's meeting some need in you. So why has Richard Spencer been spending so much time wasting so much energy on Twitter? Because that's not the problem. That's just a symptom of the problem of someone who's not at ease with himself. When I am at ease with myself, I'm not spending too much time working out. I'm not spending too much time live streaming. I'm not devoting way too much energy to flirting with the neighbor's wife. Right? So Glib Medley says, I wish Richard Spencer a good and productive Twitter sabbatical. But we're confusing the symptom with the root cause. The root cause is you're not at ease with yourself and with other people. Right? And you are relying on dopamine hits to get you through the day. So some people rely on Valium to get them through the day. Other people rely on social media likes and applause and attention to get them through the day. Other people rely on their sports fandom to get them through the day. Other people rely on intense devotion to politics to get them through the day, or to working out to get them through the day. But all these things are just escapes from reality and escapes from who you really are. And so continually running away from who you really are, and it doesn't work, right? So believe me, I've tried it. I've been a huge sports fan throughout my life, and in my teens in particular, I'd waste enormous amounts of energy and time and emotions about sports. Now, why was I so devoted excessively to sports? Because I wanted to escape my life. All right? Sports fandom equals escaping from your life. There's nothing inherently dysfunctional or maladaptive about a desire to escape from your life, but the more intense, the more extreme your devotion to escaping from your life, then that's like a flashing sign that there's something wrong with your life. If you need to bask in reflected glory of athletes playing a game, and that's what you need to shore up your self-esteem, then there's a problem. So Glib Medley says, some people offer good wishes, others hector. I am not hectoring, I am providing deeper insights I don't think most people are going to realize on this matter. Whenever you say, hey, I've got a problem, I don't earn enough money. I got a problem, I eat too much. I've got a problem, I spend too much time looking at porn. I got a problem, I'm spending too much time flirting with the neighbor's wife. I've got a problem, I'm spending too much time working out. I've got a problem, I'm spending too much time watching YouTube live streams. I've got a problem, I'm spending too much time on podcasts. Right? These are all just symptoms of the problem. Right? Dealing with the symptoms is not really dealing with the problem. These are symptoms alerting you that you are not connected to your best self, and you're not connecting normally, naturally with other people. If you're connecting normally, naturally with other people, you're not spending excessive amounts of time live streaming. You're not spending excessive amounts of time on Twitter. You're not spending excessive amounts of time going to the pub or taking Valium or gambling. Right? These are all symptoms of wanting to escape from reality. So if you have somebody or something that is taking too much of your energy for years, all right? So Richard says, this site has taken too much of my energy for years. Why has Twitter taken too much of Richard's energy for years? So I don't generally like to analyze people's motivations, but if you can propose a thesis that then serves to explain what is otherwise mystifying, then go for it. That's called abductive reasoning, right? It's abductive logic. It's reasoning from inference. So when you read a detective story or you watch a detective story, they see clues, they see a variety of clues, and then they try to come up with the simplest explanation for all the different clues. So when you just look at Richard Spencer's adult career, it makes no sense. He seems to have so much talent, so much energy, enthusiasm, insight, leadership ability, charisma. He's so skilled at live streaming, but why does everything he touch turn to feces, right? So the simplest explanation is that he's motivated, just like I've been motivated for most of my life, by attention seeking. That's the hypothesis, that Richard Spencer is primarily motivated by attention seeking and uniqueness seeking. So histrionic and narcissistic behavior, right? And when you propose that very simple hypothesis, then suddenly everything which makes no sense suddenly completely lines up. So why does he keep starting new projects that begin fairly impressively and then quickly dwindle? Why does he keep falling out with people? Why does he keep taking contrary takes? Why does he always have like new perspectives on things, the new hot take? Why is he so frequently in the news? Why is he so frequently the center of attention? Why does he have so much resentment and enmity towards anybody else in his sphere who might get some attention, who might get some news media coverage? Because he is motivated, and I'm not even sure he's consciously aware of this, by trying to get the maximum of attention, by trying to distinguish himself and say, hey, I am just unique. There's nobody like me. Isn't it obvious that you should be paying attention to me? So if you got a problem in one area of your life, you've got that problem throughout your life. All right? So chasing dopamine rushes, whether it's through sports devotion or through tweeting or making live streams or making blog posts or engaging in extreme sports, just trying to chase that dopamine rush. Why are you doing that? Because you're not fundamentally at ease with yourself. And so you have to continually try to escape from your chronic condition. It doesn't really work. If someone's taking too much of your energy, or a process is taking too much of your energy, or a place is taking too much of your energy, that's not the problem, that's a symptom. So if you've got a problem in one area of your life, such as you're tweeting too much, or you're live streaming too much, or you're working out too much, or you're drinking too much, or you're spending too much time covering sports, that's a symptom of the problem. It's not the problem in and of itself. The problem is that you don't connect with other people normally. Like, we are wired to connect with people. If you don't connect with people normally, then you'll have to connect with either a substance or a process. And that's very likely to mean that you're going to have some kind of addiction or some kind of destructive compulsion. My dad would often say that it's easier to abstain than to be moderate. So my father, for example, would never eat chocolate or cake or cookies or anything like that, because he would not be able to be moderate. It was very difficult for him to be moderate. If he had one chocolate, he'd want to eat a dozen chocolates. And that's true with a lot of people I know. They find it a lot easier to abstain than to be moderate. But abstaining, okay, you're dealing with the symptom, but you're not really dealing with the problem. Why do you find it so hard to be moderate? And that's because you don't connect normally with other people. You're not at ease with yourself and with others. We are wired to connect. We got to have people in our life who we are comfortable with. And if you don't have these ordinary human connections, you're going to be driven. For example, I was driven most of my life by attention seeking. That was my poor man's substitute for having love in my life. Because I didn't have enough love in my life, because I didn't have enough human connection in my life, I was driven to become famous. I was driven to produce as many blog posts as possible, to get, as many eyeballs to my website as possible, so that people would pay attention to me, and the attention would kind of solve the deep pain that I felt from not being able to connect with other people normally. So if I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I quit Twitter for a week and I just feel great. I quit social media for 3 days and I just feel great. I quit paying attention to politics for a week. I feel great. I quit following sports for a year and I feel great. Like, you're only dealing with the symptom. Like, why is it that you can't handle social media? Why is it that you can't handle alcohol? Why is it that you can't handle sex or gambling or drinking or Valium? All right. Why can't you handle these things in moderation? Because the dopamine rush that you get from these activities, it temporarily fills that hole in your soul, that suddenly the deep pain that characterizes your life just goes away and you suddenly feel okay. Whether it's like you've gone to bed with a new woman, or your favorite sports team has won a game, or you're doing this extreme sports and you get an adrenaline rush so that all your problems disappear. Maybe you're really shy around people and then you take a few drinks and you're no longer shy. Maybe you feel too stiff and embarrassed to dance, but after you have a couple of drinks, finally you can dance and be normally social. Right? So what it comes down to is one's reactions to stimuli are not serving you in all areas of your life. And you've got essentially a miswiring of your central nervous system, and the solution is to rewire your central nervous system, to readjust your incentives so that you react to sports or to alcohol or to chocolate or to social media or to politics in ways that serve you rather than ways that hurt you. So you can say, oh, I can't handle social media, I'm just quitting social media. You're only dealing with the symptom. Why can't you handle social media? Because you are getting a feeling of connection on social media that you are desperately missing in your normal life. Now, it comes with an enormous toxic consequence because you're not able to do it in a sustainable, healthy way. But you're getting inklings of a normal life, of an ordinary world. What's that song by Duran Duran that there's an ordinary world somehow I have to find, and as I try to make my way to the ordinary world, I will learn to survive. So if you're an addict, if you come from an unhappy childhood, if you haven't learned to connect to yourself and to other people normally, you'll get these glimmerings of an ordinary world. And you might get them through alcohol. You might get them through porn. I remember when I used to look at pornography, that's when I would feel most alive in the world. It's like, whoa, suddenly all the colors are brighter. Life's much more exciting. I finally feel like I'm being inducted into this secret knowledge. I'm being connected with the very beating heart of life. And so you become intensely devoted to sports, and suddenly you feel alive and you feel okay, and life stops hurting. So then you may spend way too much time looking at porn or way too much time watching TV sports. And we have to be able to rewire ourselves so that our reaction to the stimuli serves us instead of hurting us. So it's not social media or TV or politics or sports in and of itself that is hurting us. It is our inability to use these things. Why do we toxically, compulsively, helplessly use these things to excess? Now, if you can't stop doing something that is bad for you, yeah, obviously you need to abstain, but you also need to get help. Usually people have to hit the wall. Usually people have to completely crash their lives. Usually people have to get into the second half of their life after about age 40 or so before they become willing to do the work to get recovery so that you start to rewire your brain and your reactions to stimuli start to serve you rather than hurt you. Ideally, one would not need to completely crash one's life before you get help. And I like this abductive reasoning. It means reasoning from inference. It's like reasoning from a detective story. And so when you've got someone like a Richard Spencer whose behavior is otherwise inexplicable, but you propose, say, a hypothesis that this is a man driven by attention seeking and uniqueness seeking, by narcissism and grandiosity, suddenly all his public behavior and the private behavior that's become public suddenly starts to make sense. So that's abductive logic, abductive reasoning. You propose an inference, an explanation, and the simplest explanation that accounts for these otherwise not understandable behaviors. So it's like the reasoning in a detective story. So ideally, I don't want to be live streaming out of compulsion. So how do I know if I'm live streaming out of compulsion or live streaming out of joy? So if I'm live streaming out of compulsion, that will inevitably lead to losses in my life. I will lose friends. I will lose income. I will isolate myself from people. I'll be cut off from people. My life will become unmanageable. Whenever you start doing anything compulsively, your life will become unmanageable. So ideally, if I have nothing to say, I don't go live. Ideally, I don't tweet because I need to get a dopamine rush. I don't blog because I need to get recognition. I don't make content out of compulsion because if I'm at ease with myself, I don't have to do any of those things. I can just lie there and read a book, listen to a podcast, go for a walk, hang out with friends, right? So if you're wasting your energy, if I'm wasting my energy on activities that don't serve me, then it's a big warning sign that I'm not at peace with myself, right? So how does one know when one is doing things out of compulsion? Because it will always interfere with the rest of your life instead of complementing it, and it will always produce unmanageability. So if I want to meet up with a good friend, I usually move my live streaming around my appointments with my friends, not vice versa. So if you live for sports, or you live for politics, or you live for gambling, if you live essentially to escape from your life, right, that means you've got a problem. Extreme fandom means that you've got an extreme need to escape from reality and to bask in reflected glory, right? Because you don't feel like you have any glory in your own life. So people who wear the jerseys of sports stars, what they're saying is, I'm not enough. I need to associate myself with somebody else's reflected glory. So it's burgeoning, basking in reflected glory. When your team is doing well, you feel great, right? When your team wins, you feel better about yourself. You say, we won, and you essentially want to discard your unwanted life and throw in your lot with your team. So the more extreme your need to bask in the reflected glory of athletes or live streamers or politicians or actors, right, the more emptiness you have in your life. So generally speaking, the more intense the sports fandom, the more sad the life, the more messed up you are, the more likely you are to be a marginalized loser. And I'm not saying this as someone who's above marginalized losers. In my Los Angeles Orthodox Jewish community, I'm sure I'm widely considered a marginalized loser. Everyone is who's like a 54-year-old bachelor. Right? That's not how Orthodox Judaism works. So this is not 40 standing here on Mount Sinai proclaiming 17 commandments of life. This is 40 reflecting on his own life, and how my thirst for distraction, my thirst for escape, my thirst for dopamine rushes from getting on TV, from getting famous, from seducing women, it would temporarily mask the pain, but the pain would always come back. And I've had long periods of my life where I had intense devotion to sports, and the intensity of my devotion to sports would always correlate with how messed up I was during that period of my life. The more intensely I was into sports meant the more I needed to escape from the reality of my own life, the more I needed to bask in reflected glory. Right? Fans invest time, fans invest energy, fans invest money and attention into sports because it's an escape from their life. And they want to feel like part of the team. They want to feel like part of the story. So, main takeaway from all this: our problems are not our problems. Our problems are just symptoms of our problems. And if you got a problem in one area of your life, it's all through your life.